Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about how John Durham can actually get the indictment he wants, the prosecution and conviction he wants in the next trial, a Steele dossier trial. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, to my super chat. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people. So your super chat is greatly appreciated. If you want to talk about the trial, the Durham trial, Johnny Depp, the economy, the next special counsel test, which would be Igor Danchenko, go ahead. Definitely, let me know via super chat. It's greatly appreciated. And let's get started. Eric, David, Bobby, everybody here, thank you so very, very much. Captain, let's get started. So, the trial that's upcoming is a trial for a defendant who lied, 5 counts of lying. He's indicted for 5 counts of lying to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I want to read you really quickly the DOJ indictment. Russian national indicted for making false statements to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The defendant allegedly lied about the source of information provided to the FBI during the 2016 presidential campaign. Now, John Durham has to, number one, not shy away from stating that he's, this is about 2016. This is about Trump and Clinton. He can't simply pretend that this isn't about Trump and Clinton. It's just about lying to the Bureau, and this is not independent from what took place in 2016. This is we're still living in 2016, and Durham has the Durham Probe Special Counsel was created because they set up and framed Trump using not just opposition research, false, absurd, fabricated claims. The Steele dossier was purchased by Clinton, Trump's direct political rival, with help, by the way, from intelligence officials in the country that Democrats blame for everything. Yvette Moore! Yvette! H.A. Goodman and Peasants, good morning. Good morning, Yvette. To my viewers in Australia, thank you. Yvette Moore, thank you. Thank you, Yvette. Starting enough, dying to die in Nepal. Thank you so very much. To my viewers around the world, thank you so much. Yvette, thank you. John Durham cannot be shy or reluctant. He can't be reluctant to relive 2016. That's what this is about. And he can't be trusting, or he can't allow a conviction to be based on the good faith, the sincerity, the honesty of former officials, people who work in the government, people who work in the Bureau. In this trial, Sussman got off because nobody believed that he deceived the United States government. The jury did not believe James Baker, who stated he was 100% certain that Sussman lied to him. Stephanie, thank you. The jury did not believe that Sussman was lied to. that Sussman lied to Baker, even though he did. He texted James Baker. He literally texted James Baker that he was coming on behalf of himself. But see, there were so many things that, for some reason, the prosecutors in the Durham probe did not get the benefit of the doubt in any shape or form. D-Rock, hello. They never got the benefit of the doubt. And, David, good to have you back. And you cannot, if you are the Durham probe special counsel, you cannot ask the next trial if Igor Danchenko deceived or duped or tricked the Federal Bureau of Investigation into doing something it wouldn't have done. If you ask that, there has to be more than just a government official saying, well, because you had some of the agents, one of the counterintelligence agents saying, well, it was a factor. It wasn't, Sussman's lie was a factor in why we investigated Trump. It wasn't every reason why we investigated Trump. Durham has to put the intel community or intel chiefs on trial. He has to read the DHS and ODNI report to the jury. He has to read the parts where it says they only have high to moderate confidence. They are not certain. They're not certain of anything. Here, if you want to read this is a hilarious Mother Jones article where for 5 years, Trump and his minions have endeavored to beat back the Trump-Russia scandal with denial and destruction. That one person was indicted on the Mueller probe for conspiring or working alongside any intelligence officials at the Kremlin. To the contrary, it was Clinton who purchased a dossier compiled with help from people in that country. Literally an intelligence official in that country. We'll get to a Vanity Fair article that talks about that. They have done all they could to change the subject from the basics of the affair. The Kremlin attacked the 2016 to help Trump. No, you don't know this. Nobody knows this because guess what? The DNC emails showed they cheated Bernie Sanders. Somebody tell Mother Jones they cheated Bernie Sanders in the primary. Bernie Sanders was cheated in the primary. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign in disgrace. And it was not an assault on our democracy. The DNC emails showed that Democrats, with their own slimy little paws, were emailing messages that undermined the Bernie Sanders campaign. Bernie Sanders, of course, was a tool. He didn't care. He didn't even fight back. He didn't even complain about it. But Debbie Wasserman Schultz and four other officials were forced to resign because it was not a fair and neutral primary. Mother Jones views the Kremlin as having attacked American democracy by informing the world that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Of course, the notion that they would hack the DNC and not Clinton's emails with Clinton's servers with top secret intelligence on them is absurd. Why would a country infiltrate a political party but not private servers of a Secretary of State that had classified and top secret intelligence? Why would a country do that? Furthermore, the DNC never gave its computer servers to the U.S. government. Never. So Mother Jones and this author, who is implicated in all of this, by the way, because apparently he might have been friends with James Baker or might have been part of disseminating the now discredited, completely debunked, false Steele dossier. So the high to moderate confidence assessment coupled with a DNC that did not give its servers to the United States government means that the United States government has never categorically stated with certainty, they've never guaranteed or stated with certainty that the DNC was hacked by any country. We don't know that with certainty. That is something confirmed by a Senate panel headed by Richard Burr, who was a never-Trumper. And, Democrats say, well, it's a bipartisan affair, and it wasn't bipartisan. It wasn't bipartisan at all. You had never-Trump Republicans who were going after Trump. It wasn't bipartisan. It was people who don't like Trump saying that he was helping or working alongside the Kremlin. So, at first, it was that he was conspiring alongside these foreign operatives. Then they couldn't find anything because the Mueller probe never indicted anyone for conspiring alongside any intelligence official of any country. So then they said, well, he benefited from the DNC hack. Well, of course he did. Obviously, if people find out about Democratic Party corruption, cheating their own candidates and claiming it's a fair and neutral primary, they don't even have a functioning primary. Obviously, Trump or anyone else is going to benefit. Clinton went after Tulsi Gabbard. They went after Bernie Sanders with the same tired, false, absurd, fabricated allegations. And then this Mother Jones article goes, the Kremlin attacked in 2016, and you don't know that to help Trump. You have no clue. They indicted intelligence officials. So what? Sussman was indicted. He got off. They indicted intelligence officials, but they had no evidence at all. The evidence was that the third-party tech firm that the Democrats hired came to the conclusion that these operatives were working on behalf of the Russian government. If you read the ODNI or DHS reports, they don't have any categorical proof. So the Trump campaign had troubling interactions with Russian operatives. No, they didn't, because none of these interactions led to any indictments or prosecution, and was told the Kremlin intended to covertly assist. No, they weren't told anything. If they were told anything, it was by people who were investigating them based on a fantasy. So what they do is they create an absurd propaganda spin simply as a way to save face for losing to Trump, who was never in politics. So you have these lifelong Democrats who were mortified that they lost to Trump. So they had to find some way. And then this is the greatest conspiratorial theory of all. And then they call the Durham probe a conspiratorial theory for finding out why the United States government teamed with operatives of the Clinton campaign to go after an incoming Republican candidate. So it's really interesting how all of this works. It's just really interesting. They think this is a victory for them that Sussman got off, but it's actually greater confirmation that they can lie and get away with it. But see, again, Durham has to change his strategy, and he will. Yvette, thank you again. To my super chat, thank you. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. So, meanwhile, okay, so as the assault was underway, what assault? The DNC emails being published? Julian Assange should be free. He was never indicted for working alongside any operative or any foreign government. Nobody in Trump's administration, nobody associated with any publisher was indicted or even accused in the court of law of working alongside a Kremlin or foreign operative. So how on earth was there an assault? The Trump cat had troubling interactions. Trump hid from the public his effort to land a major development deal in Moscow. So what? The foundation had millions upon millions of dollars from a company that was eventually owned by you-know-who, and 20% of U.S. uranium capacity under President Obama after Bill Clinton met with you-know-who outside of his home in Moscow. So there are many more suspicious ties with Democrats and that country than Trump ever had. The Trump campaign aided and abetted a Russian attack by denying or downplaying it? Sorry, your liberal sensibilities do not decide if somebody is guilty of anything. Okay? He wasn't helping any other country by denying or downplaying it. Just like when Clinton asked Maddow, or it was with Maddow and asked China to get Trump's tax returns. Okay? Hillary Clinton didn't ask or aid or abet any other country. If Trump got his tax returns stolen by China, it wouldn't have been because Clinton asked them to on MSNBC. This is the most absurd nonsense of all. This kind of infusion of liberal sensibilities into basic logic. And we have inflation, we have GDP contracting, we have food shortages, we have a recession on the horizon, a stock market collapse that's going to be far greater than what we've seen, than what I predicted. And by the way, hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. There's a new segment out today, and I'll have a segment right after this live stream. And also the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel. It's back below 30,000. It's at 29,000 all over again. So it could, but it ain't going back up to 40. It could, but let's say it'll go straight down again to below 30, and it'll get to below 10. Unfortunately, I don't want that to happen. All of these are confirmed facts. No, they are not confirmed facts. Literally, that is a false statement. That is not true. They are not confirmed facts. That makes a case that Trump committed a grand act of betrayal. Betrayal to whom? The Democratic Party? You betrayed Bernie Sanders. You betrayed your own voters by literally buying, using. By the way, Clinton's campaign pled guilty and the DNC to FEC violations, and they had to pay a fine for buying a Steele dossier with campaign donations. So this is absolute nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. This Mother Jones article is full of lies by omission. Trump and his defenders, though, have tried to change the subject. The problematic Steele dossier, an improperly obtained search warrant. You had Kevin Kleinsmith, who literally lied and falsified information to a FISA judge. He pled guilty to that. The reason Sussman got off is because James Baker was in on it also, and nobody believed that he was duped. And that's something the Durham probe special counsel must address. He must address that. He cannot work. You cannot rely on the honesty or the integrity or the trustworthiness of a government official. Nobody trusts them. Even the Democrats don't. And they were on the Democratic Party side. There's no. If this Mother Jones article was right, then anybody would have been indicted alongside a Russian intelligence official, which never happened. Trump and his defenders, though, have tried to change the subject. The problematic Steele dossier. It wasn't problematic. It was literally purchased by Trump's direct political rival and utilized by an outgoing administration. If the reverse were true and Rudy Giuliani purchased a dossier against mashed potato brains, they would never allow it, ever in a million years. So that's the issue. Baseless theories about Democratic Party computer servers being okay, nobody cares about that, and I've never even talked about that. The Democratic Party servers were never given to the United States government. James Comey asked for them, and he was rebuffed. So the whole thing was the biggest scam of all time. They think that another country helped Trump because the electorate learned about how utterly disgusting and corrupt the Democrats were in cheating Bernie Sanders. Then they said Facebook ads and Twitter bots swung the election. Nobody even can remember a Facebook ad. So it wasn't Trump's job. If the DNC indeed got hacked by any country, it wasn't Trump's job to condemn another country. Because Lord knows the Democrats wouldn't have. It was Democrats in 2008 who started the myth about President Obama. Okay, it was Democrats that basically start every absurd myth in recent American history. Now, it was wrong when Republicans continued with it, but it was Democrats in 2008. Okay, and President Obama's campaign even called them out, the Clinton campaign. But see, again, we don't, the intelligence reports from the ODNI and DHS, why on earth would that be part of national? How is another country infiltrating the servers of a private corporation? The DNC is a private corporation, I believe. How on earth is that national security? The Democratic Party has nothing to do with the United States government. So they purchased a dossier that was literally obtained through the help right here. Source B was a former top-level official still active in the Kremlin. So Mother Jones should probably learn or read up this Vanity Fair article. The Steele dossier purchased by Clinton was literally obtained, with one source being a still active Kremlin intelligence official. This is a Vanity Fair article. how Christopher Steele compiled his amazing dossier. So, they're the ones who actually conspired with another country, not Trump. Okay, they purchased, not only did Clinton purchase, and by the way, I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024, or Clinton, Trump, DeSantis. Okay, or sorry, Clinton, DeSantis 2024. Okay, but not only did they purchase a dossier and infiltrate the U.S. government utilizing this absurd dossier, but then they say, oh, it was started with a conversation from Alexander Downer. Who cares? You know I love Australia. To my Australian viewers, Yvette and everybody here, Paul and every Mad Cow Mark, but it wouldn't matter if it was a Canadian or any other diplomat with ties to the foundation. Alexander Downer was an Australian diplomat with direct ties to Bill and Hillary's foundation. So what if he tipped off the Federal Bureau of Investigation? It's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. It means nothing. You don't start investigations because of political operatives that feed you false information. Furthermore, George Papadopoulos was recorded as never having stated he knew about any email infiltration. Anything. He literally said it was a conspiratorial theory. And so the people who believe in conspiratorial theories are on the left, or I should say liberal Democrats. They believe the most absurd nonsense. Okay, Sussman getting off was bad strategy by Durham, but also it was mainly he lied in a text message and they couldn't use the text message. This operative, Danchenko, has five, he's indicted under 5 charges, 5 counts, so Sussman was indicted 1 count for lying, 1. It's like, what they did was, what Durham did was he utilized the Mueller probe strategy, but the Mueller probe, Crypto King, hello. The Mueller probe, what the Mueller probe did was indict people as retribution, indict people as revenge. The Mueller probe existed because there was a belief that Trump had conspired alongside foreign operatives. They're the ones who believe in conspiratorial theories. So they're the ones who believed before the Mueller probe got started. Okay, they believed that it was Trump who conspired alongside the Kremlin to infiltrate the DNC because the Democrats were cheating, Bernie Sanders, and it was Vladimir's goal in life to let everyone know that Bernie Sanders was being cheated while at the same time purchasing Facebook ads that nobody saw. This was an assault on our democracy. This was like, Pearl Harbor and every other horrible tragedy we've gone through as a nation. Okay? The Democratic National Committee has literally nothing to do with national security. It doesn't even run a fair and neutral primary. Okay? It doesn't even run a fair and neutral primary. They cheated Bernie Sanders 4 years later. But here you have, it's right here. You have source B, and then how good were these sources? Consider what Steele would write in the memos he filed with Simpson. Source A, to use the careful nomenclature of his dossier, was a senior Russian foreign ministry individual. Source B, a former top-level intelligence official still active. The Democrats used an intelligence official in that country that was literally still working. And the U.S. government, talk about information that is deceptive, was utilizing information compiled by a still active intelligence official of that country. Can you believe this? So compare the Vanity Fair article with the Mother Jones article. And both of these insiders, after speaking to a trusted compatriot, would claim that the Kremlin had spent years getting its hooks into Donald Trump. Source E was an ethnic, close associate of Republican U.S. candidate, This individual proved to be a treasure trove of information. So, this is all fantasy. This is all fantasy. It's literally a fantasy novel. Literally nothing. Literally nothing here is true. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Bobby. Let me lower the, Hold on, how's this now? Hold on. I lowered the volume. So, Dana, hello. Source E, Source B, Source C. Then there was Source D, a close associate of Trump who had organized and managed his recent trip, and Source F, a female staffer at the Ritz-Carlton in Moscow. Ooh. And this, by the way, was compiled and obtained by people who would eventually pay an FEC fine for using campaign donations. And you can't get the Federal Bureau of Investigation to actually ever state anything. Was the dossier the reason you investigated Trump? It was part of a myriad of reasons. A kaleidoscope of reasons. What about Sussman's lie? One of many reasons. So George Papadopoulos getting set up by Alexander Downer and Joseph Mifsud. One of many reasons. Every single reason has to do with an operative of the Clinton campaign. So what Durham needs to do is start indicting people. Wild Cajun, hello. Ronald Foos, hello. What Durham needs to do is indict on people conspiring against the U.S. government. It's not difficult. J-Spot, hello. For Free Reign, hello. It's not difficult. You indict people on conspiring alongside... Nanny, hello. You indict people on conspiring alongside... conspiring with political operatives. Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, Page, Kleinsmith, Glenn Simpson, Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele, DOJ officials, journalists. It's not difficult. You indict all of these people under 18 U.S. Code 371. And you state, this is the basis. Did you have any categorical proof? What was your proof? Because James Clapper with Chuck Todd said, I don't have any evidence, Chuck. And then Chuck said, if you did, would you tell everybody? I don't have any evidence, Chuck. If you did, would you tell anybody? If you ask me that question again, Chuck, I'm going to just turn this table over and confront you violently. He already told... James Clapper already told Chuck Todd in May of 2017 that he didn't have any direct evidence. Of course. Jeez, I can't stand this. Did you get kicked off, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, good. I thought people got kicked off. He already found out there was no direct evidence. You indict all of these people under 18 U.S. Code 371. Here's the statute. There's Bitcoin's price. I will get to that. By the way, like I said, please go ahead and go to the stock market crash channel and the Bitcoin crash channel right after Janet Yellen finally admits that she was wrong and Powell they were wrong on inflation. Of course, the experts are usually wrong. Isn't that interesting? Here, 18 U.S. Code 371. It's not difficult. You can't just simply say, well, it was government policy. It was not government policy. This was based on outgoing intelligence officials who didn't like Trump. As part of the indictment, you say, oh, they were on MSNBC and CNN every 2 seconds, and they were meeting with people who had no business meeting with intelligence officials, and they were accepting dossiers purchased by Clinton. It's not, and you ask simple questions like, is this normal? Have you done this to a Democrat? Start off with that. Did you ever do any of this to President Obama? Did you ever do any of this to Clinton? Did you ever do any of this to Mashed Potato Brains Joe? Don't start off with, is this normal government protocol? Well, it could be and it couldn't be. They're never going to answer any question without a million different caveats. They're never going to answer any question. Exactly. David, William Barr already used the word sedition or seditious. So they're never going to answer anything. Like if you ask a bureau official, Yvette, thank you again to my super chat. Thank you. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have $20 million like in venture capital funding like like certain YouTube channels. Anyway, so if you enjoy these live streams, your super chat is greatly appreciated. You can't go ahead and ask a government official any open-ended question. You can't say, is this normal? Well, it could and it couldn't be. Did you? How did Trump's investigation differ from other investigations? Oh, well, Trump was the only candidate ever to be accused of having worked with another government. Well, don't ask that question. Don't ask that question. You ask, what were the factors? What were the no, don't even ask that. That's bad. Just say, was the Steele dossier one of the factors? Okay, at least you can get a yes or no. But you can go into, it was one of many factors. Did you know Clinton purchased the Steele dossier? Did you know that the FEC fined the Clinton campaign? C. Revis! HA, your passion and dedication is unmatched and appreciated. I really appreciate that, C. Revis. Let me tell you something. It really makes a difference for a content creator. Anybody who runs a YouTube channel, it really is important to have C. Revis, your kind words, and everybody here. Kind words, let me tell you, like encouragement, it is so important. And I just want to thank you so very much. C. Revis, thank you. Thank you so very much. The kind words mean a lot. It's also interesting, C. Revis, because it's an uphill climb, but Rome wasn't built in a day, and I can see the House, the Senate going Trump Republican, Durham probe special counsel. He'll get the indictment. He'll get the prosecution almost certainly of the next person. He has five different counts, so they'll get one of the counts at least. But the thing is, he has to go ahead, C. Revis. Then thank you so much for your kind words. It means a lot to me and your support always. He has to go ahead and go 18 U.S. Code 371. I wrote about this in the Federalist. Okay? Here. You can just go here. H.A. Goodman, Federalist. Okay? Hopefully it doesn't get to a link that Hunter shared with Joe. But here. C. Revis! J Spot, kind word. J Spot, thank you. Here, Comey and McCabe should be charged for conspiring to defraud Americans. This is what I wrote. It's right here. And I talk about the 18 U.S. Code 371. After 2 years of Mueller probe started by leaked members from James Comey, 18 U.S. Code 371 can be ironically used against those who investigated President Trump without evidence he or anyone around who committed crimes associated with the DNC hack. He was never associated. There was never any link or logic or anything. C. Revis, J. Spot, thank you. Yvette, thank you. I wrote this. Yours truly. See, I used to write a lot, and I'm kind of like really burned out, but I'm going to be writing a Bitcoin article soon on why I think Bitcoin and everything from Coinbase to Tether. Well, Bitcoin will be around, but it'll be below 10,000. But Coinbase, Tether, I don't believe they'll be around. XRP, I don't believe they'll be around in about a year and a half, 2 years. They're burning through too much money every quarter. They're losing too much money, and they're not backed by enough cash reserves. And so there are a whole lot of reasons. But here, Comey and McCabe should be charged for conspiring to defraud Americans. H.A. Goodman, April 12, 2019. So we're going on, 3 years ago? Going on 3 years. And so, and we'll get to the fuel shortage in a second. But you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's you simply cannot play small ball. C. Revis, Yvette, J. Spot, everyone here, David, Von Kettering, everyone here. You can't go and bunt and get to first with the bunt and then steal second and then have somebody, hit a weak grounder to second so you can advance the runner to third. And then you can't have a squeeze play where you bunt again and then have the runner at third, go home and hopefully score a run or get a sacrifice fly. You can't do that. You have to be the 89 Oakland A's, the Bash Brothers. You have to have the performance enhancements. You got to have Canseco, McGuire, everybody. Love Ricky Henderson. Dave Parker. Carney Lansford. I mean, you got to have everybody. Mike Gallego, I believe. Yeah. You got to have everybody. You have to start hitting home runs. You can't be going, I'm going to indict you on the one little thing, the one charge. I mean, you have to go big. Because if you don't go big, for free reign. If you don't go big, they're gonna make us go home. For free for free reign, soon to be half a gallon. For free reign. JG! Nice. JG. Let us know what you're cooking when you can. JG, thank you. For free reign. For free reign, thank you very, very much. Thank you so very much. Laughing Dog. Hello. Paul Bartlett, hello. For free reign, exactly. Well, there's going to be fuel shortages. U.S. fuel shortage, and I talked about this in the stock market crash channel today. And I'll have a stock market crash channel segment right after this about how the Fed was wrong on inflation. Of course they were. I was saying it was going to get much worse. They were saying it was just going to be okay and it was temporary. But also, go to the Bitcoin crash channel also after this. U.S. summer fuel shortages could be worse than 1970s. And they should add, but at least Trump isn't tweeting. Okay? oil prices, and the United States and Europe could experience fuel shortages this summer that could be worse than the 1970s oil crisis as demand wraps up for travel season. Worse than oil spiked. Okay, so worse than the 1970s. In California, the average price is $6.15. Okay, it was less than $3 with Trump. For free reign, at least Trump isn't tweeting. And it's like, it's pretty unbelievable. We have this situation where the adults are in charge, and they're the ones who got us into this mess. But here, let's just read this. Special Counsel John Durham today announced that a federal jury, this is in November, but this is what the next trial is going to be about. And for free reign, thank you again. Thanks, everybody, to my super chat. I can't thank you enough. C-Rev is for free reign. Everybody here, Yvette, J-Spot, thank you so very much. Special Counsel John Durham today announced that a federal grand jury returned an indictment in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia, charging Igor Danchenko, 43, a Russian citizen residing in Virginia, with 5 counts of making false statements to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The charges in the indictment stem from statements he made relating to the sources he used in providing information to the UK investigative firm that prepared what are identified in the indictment as company reports. What I don't understand is how Christopher Steele, it's so interesting how they just hide behind all of these layers of, like, Christopher Steele is like, well, I compiled the report, and the sources are the problem, not me. But you can easily indict Christopher Steele because he knowingly gave information that wasn't accurate. He gave information he knew could be false. You can't do that. You can't give information that you know is 50-50 to the U.S. government to have the U.S. government investigate somebody. Not even 50-50. He compiled the information on behalf of a political opponent. It was opposition research. So it was marketed as this monumental, profound discovery of Trump's ties to you-know-who. And he knew all the while that, you know what, it was just a guess, a hunch. He was just outsourcing the project. He really didn't know if it was true or not. But he didn't tell the journalists this. So half the country really believed that Trump could have been installed by another hostile foreign nation. So, according to the indictment, on June 15, 2017, March 16, 2017, May 18, 2017, October 24, 2017, and November 16, 2017, he made false statements regarding the sources of certain information that he provided to a UK investigative firm. How on earth is the investigative firm not a part of this? I mean, at the end of the day, it's so easy. In court, even if you are hiding behind lawful behavior, you could still be indicted under 18 U.S. Code 371. You're conspiring to take down an incoming president with knowingly false information. A lot of this, they all knew was false because they had not a shred of evidence. You can't just fabricate and conjure up and make up absurd allegations and then say, well, it could be true. And then when you're being grilled by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, you say, oh, well, you know what? It really wasn't my fault. It was the sources. The sources were the ones that, it was the sources that told me that this could be true. The June 15, 2017 false statement count alleges that that Danchenko denied that he had spoken with a particular individual about material information contained in one of the company reports when he knew that was untrue. Okay, the Durham probe is going to get in trouble with that. March 16, 2017, 18th, May 18th, October 24th, and November 16th counts involve statements made by Danchenko to those dates to Bureau agents regarding information he purportedly had received from an anonymous caller who he believed to be a particular individual, when in truth and in fact that was untrue. See, there's a public relations executive that was linked to the Clintons that he worked with, and he was getting information from this public relations executive. But if you're going to rely on the FBI testimony, I mean, he'll probably get off. I don't want to say he'll get off on most of these things if Durham is going to do what Mueller did and what he did last trial against Sussman, he's not going to get a conviction. But if he tries to kind of tie this into a concerted effort to lie about Trump, see, he has to explain to the jury that this is about 2016. And this is about the Clinton campaign trying to set up and frame Trump. And I don't know how he can do that because these indictments were already leveled. But the information purportedly conveyed by the anonymous caller include the allegation that there were communications ongoing between the Trump campaign and officials and foreign officials, and the caller had indicated the Kremlin might be helping in getting Trump into the White House. So there you go. And again, this is marginally better than the Sussman. This is marginally better than the Sussman trial, but again, it's like he's not going to get a conviction if he relies on the testimony of Bureau agents. It ain't going to work out because the Bureau agents were willing participants. They were willing participants. Okay, so they were willing participants, and, they wanted to work with Danchenko and Sussman and Christopher Steele and Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS and the Clinton campaign. So, who's deceiving who? They're not really deceiving each other. They're working alongside one another, which is why Durham needs to change. He will change. I'm sure he will change his strategy. The Durham probe is trying the best it can. Look, John Durham has had absolutely no media support. Okay? It's had absolutely no media support at all. And you have very little. Like Jim Jordan today, let's see. Jim Jordan today came out with what we learned about Hillary Clinton was huge. Jim Jordan says Clinton sign-off in Durham case huge. So a huge disclosure was made by Special Counsel John Durham's first trial as criminal inquiry into the Russia investigation, according to GOP investigator. Prior to ruling in the case against Democratic cybersecurity lawyer Michael Sussman, Representative Jordan said said the big takeaway came from testimony by a manager, Robbie Mook, of Clinton's campaign. Mook, the campaign manager, said the candidate personally signed off on sharing since debunked Trump Russia allegations related to Alpha Bank. The big takeaway here is what we learned a few days ago. Secretary Clinton told Sussman to take false information to the press that was also taken to the Bureau. See, here's also an issue. Under 18 U.S. Code 371, if you're conspiring to defraud, that's the charge. If you're accusing Clinton and others of conspiring to defraud, then you use that statute. I mean, Durham knows a lot more about, the law than I do, but he got a big goose egg yesterday. So his strategy isn't working. his strategy is not working. What they need to do if they want to get to the bottom of any of this is start going big. It's not that difficult to do, okay? And think about it. If you go big, you might get if you go small, you might get the acquittal still like you did yesterday. But if you go big, at least you'll find out the extent of all of these people conspiring against Trump. That's the point. That's the point. You're finding out information that you wouldn't have found out. I mean, I know you don't just want to go ahead and just, go to trial with a case you don't think you can win, but there was a case you thought you could win, and it didn't work out. The smaller the case, the more difficult it's going to be. The bigger the case, the easier it's going to be for Durham, in my opinion. And, again, he cannot use the honesty, the perceived honesty or integrity of any government official. He just can't do that. He just cannot do that. That is a recipe for another acquittal. Exactly. You got to go big, and you just have to. I mean, there's really no... Here, Durham charges Steele dossier subsource with 5 counts of making false statements. Again, the whole false statement thing to the Bureau, that's going to be... You have the Sussman defense of, you're not Mueller. Durham has to understand he's not Mueller. Mueller was retribution. Mueller was hysterical retribution. People on the left reluctantly agree, and they'll still say, I just think that Trump still had something to do with the Kremlin. It's like, no, just because you were corrupt and people found out about it doesn't mean that the Kremlin wanted Trump and was aiding Trump and help in informing the country of how corrupt Democrats were. That's not what that means. That is not what that means. So, if he just changes up, the next indictment cannot be false statements to the Bureau. This is he's just basically, if he does that, this false statement nonsense, they all lied. It's what is the Durham probe trying to prove? They all lied through their teeth. They lied so often and so much that the Clinton campaign and DNC had to pay an FEC fine for utilizing campaign donations to buy the dossier. So let's see here. Federal agents arrested this primary subsource who contributed to the unverified. Again, unverified is a very nice way of saying unverified is a very nice way of saying completely fabricated. Completely and utterly fabricated. If you fabricate a dossier, you're conspiring to defraud the U.S. government. That's 18 U.S. Code 371, or any statutes pertaining to conspiring to defraud the U.S. government. It's easier to point to why these people lied, not whether or not they lied. If you keep on trying to say, oh well, they lied, and well, yeah, but the Mueller probe was an example of retribution, like I said. It's an example of retribution. This is not Mueller. So any tiny indictment, because you had agents claiming that if they were lied to, see, with the Mueller probe, you had agents claiming that if they were lied to, then the lie was could have impeded the investigation into links between Trump and another country. You know, that's what the problem is here. That's what the problem is here. The problem is you have a situation. Oh my God, the mic. Again, the mic. Again, the mic. The problem is you have a situation where, let me see with the mic. You have a situation where you can't just indict somebody and expect a jury. You can't expect a jury to really care about a lie that was told 6 years ago. You have a situation where you can't just indict somebody and expect a jury. I think the mic's okay, actually. Sadly, a jury, thanks you, Amazing Colonel, a jury is not going to really care anymore about a lie. And that's the thing. They're not going to care about a lie that was told 6 years ago, especially like if you just, like the judge, every single DC judge is going to say, well, this has nothing to do with Clinton or Trump. I mean, the jury alone, I was watching Robert Gavea. The jury alone, there was somebody who said, yeah, I don't like Trump, and I would never be impartial. Thank you, Ronald. I would never be, able to be impartial if it was Trump. And then the judge says, well, Trump and Clinton aren't being this. They're not part of this trial. And it's like, oh my God, no wonder Sussman got off. That's another thing he shouldn't be reticent or reluctant about. Yeah, it's about Trump and Clinton. It's about Trump and Clinton. Yes. They should be very proud of that. They should be very proud of that. That's what this is about, Trump and Clinton. That is what this is about. That's exactly what this is about. That is exactly what this is about. It's not about one lie told 6 years ago in which people don't care about the Durham probe. These jurors are picked because they don't know anything about it. That's the whole point. The jurors are picked because they don't know anything about it. And in D.C., they're going to be almost certainly liberal Democrats. I have no clue how the Durham probe was okay with jurors who gave money to Democrats or to Clinton. I don't understand that at all. That I have no understanding of. Why would you even allow that? Exactly. Well, I agree with you. Out of Bubblegum 1961, I agree with you. That's probably an important consideration. That's probably an important, and I could be wrong in the strategy then. I could be wrong in the strategy. But if you have, that is true. That is true. If I'm wrong and he hasn't changed his strategy, because his strategy was getting the conviction was not relevant. If getting the conviction was not relevant, then that's a big thing. Then that's a big thing. If getting the conviction wasn't relevant, then yes, I agree with you. Well, I hope not. I agree with Eliza. I think we're in a long, he doesn't have any, the Mueller probe had a parallel investigation. with the Senate Intelligence Committee that basically found absolutely nothing. If the best they have is that that Trump benefited from another country exposing the corruption within Democrats, that's not really some kind of profound. That's not some kind of profound revelation here. Any political party is going to benefit from the corruption of Democrats if they're going against Democrats. It's not like a profound. That isn't something that is like a big national security revelation. And you have also CNN today. Here you have CNN, or was it CNN? They're like, fails first courtroom test. The issue, the Durham probe is not about finding out if. Let's look at the Washington Post. This is hilarious. What if, and bear with me. Oh, here we go. I can't believe, it's really interesting, they truly believe that Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper or Brennan were apolitical. They truly believe that. They truly believe that. Here. Okay, is this the... So here's the problem also, and I understand this too because in terms of public relations, or as they say, I don't even like this word, optics, it's not good. But here's the kind of leap of logic. What's the impact of the verdict is a significant defeat to the Durham probe. After more than 3 years, Durham has racked up one guilty plea, one acquittal at trial, and has one more trial scheduled for this fall. Since Durham began his work in 2019, he has been accused by critics of running a politicized operation. Well, that's what the Mueller probe was. And this is a politicized operation. It's trying to find out why the Mueller probe went after Trump. That is essentially chasing down conservative conspiratorials about the Russia. No, it's not. It's not a theory. It is a fact that they went after Trump without any hard evidence. James Clapper literally told Chuck Todd there was no direct evidence. It is not a conspiratorial theory to state the absolute fact that there was never any hard evidence, direct evidence that Trump worked with another country. They only utilized hearsay from Alexander Downer, from a Steele dossier, from Alpha Bank allegations by Sussman and others. Criminalizing political opposition research. Here we go. It's the same thing. Criminalizing political opposition research related to activity of this type serves no justice purpose. You're not criminalizing political opposition research. You're criminalizing the use of political opposition to initiate government-run, taxpayer-funded investigations, said a former federal prosecutor. Hopefully this verdict will have a chilling impact on future prosecutions if Durham intends to proceed using the same flawed theory of criminal liability. No, he's using Mueller's theory. Mueller indicted people on lying to the Bureau. Sussman lied to the Bureau. The problem was nobody believed the actual FBI official who stated that Sussman lied. That's the problem. Nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. So, for free reign, C. Revis, everybody here to my super chat, thank you. For free reign, C. Revis, Yvette, thank you. Nobody believed him. That was the problem. Nobody believed, there was nobody that believed James Baker. So the DNC, it's interesting. Criminalizing political, has nothing to do with criminalizing political opposition research. And political opposition research related activity, if people are conspiring to deceive government officials or dupe government officials into investigating Trump, or just give willing participants within the United States government the ability to investigate Trump, that doesn't that is not that is not democracy. It has nothing to do with political opposition research being criminalized. These people were funneling lies into the U.S. government. So, I mean, you have a situation here. It's like, the verdict could raise questions how long Durham could keep going. On paper, he is overseen by... What do you mean, how long? It's like, this is so interesting. They call anything that's logical conspiratorial theories, as they claim that Russia wanted to hack the DNC to inform everyone that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Do you understand the underlying theory that the Democrats believe is unstated? They regurgitate an unstated theory. The unstated theory is that the DNC emails showed that Bernie Sanders was cheated. And so knowing about that is an assault. An attack on democracy. That's literally pointing out that Democrats have no concept of democracy. Okay, when was the last time, if Rudy Giuliani does anything, they're investigating him? Okay, he works with any country, they're investigating him. Meanwhile, they worked with a Christopher Steele, a British intel official, who was working with Russian intel operatives, still working, and that's okay. No problem for Democrats. Criminalizing political opposition research-related activity of this type serves no criminal justice. It serves every criminal justice purpose because you are infiltrating the United States government with patently false allegations purchased by Trump's direct political rival and getting taxpayer dollars to investigate a political rival based on nonsense and false information, based on lies. So yeah. When was the last time that happened? See, again, it's like, if the shoe were on the other foot, they would never stand for this if the shoe were on the other foot. They would never stand for this if the shoe were on the other foot. But see, again, it's like Durham has one active prosecution, a case against Igor Danchenko, a key source for... He better start... If he wants to go ahead and actually utilize the special counsel for what it's... The special counsel, whether it was Starr investigation or Mueller, the purpose was to find people who conspired to commit a crime. Not like a false statement. Mueller was able to... I mean, Bill Clinton actually committed perjury. What is this? Oh my goodness. And then he was impeached for... actually perjury, but a false statement 6 years ago. Lou Maldonado, thank you, Lou. Thank you, Lou, to my super chat. Thank you. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Your super chat is greatly appreciated. Lou, thank you. Lou Maldonado. You can't, if you have a special counsel, you can't just go and say 6 years ago, someone lied to a bureau agent who was lying also. That ain't going to work. I just don't think that's going to work. He needs to go ahead and start. And again, it's like, it's not like he doesn't have the information here. There are statutes, 18 U.S. Code 371. Paul Bartlett, hello. There are statutes where, if you look... Right here, 18 U.S. Code 371. These are the statutes. Hold on one second. If two or more people conspire to either commit any offense against the United States, so he has to go after the intel officials while he's going after everyone else. I mean, from a legal perspective, that might be impossible, or it might be naive for me to say that he should do this. But that's really the only, his leverage now is demanding documents, getting people to testify, getting people to, testify under oath. That's what you're not going to do. You're not going to find any serious, you're not going to find out how they engaged in all of this with one lie here and one lie there, or it could be the case, like within the chat, some people were saying, well, this is actually to build a case for 18 U.S. Code 371. Lou Maldonado, thank you. We'll go 5 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And then I will try to do another live stream at around, I would say, 10:30 or so. But, Amazing Colonel. I'll look at that. I will look at that for sure. I saw the statement, and he said, "Oh, I'm glad to get back to doing what I love." But it's like, these people conspired against the U.S. government, but the U.S. government was in on it, and half the electorate is okay with it. So, half the government is okay with it. I can't think of a poll right now. I wish I could. It'll be interesting who he indicts next. But thank you. Stop, listen. Thank you. If you look at Kash Patel, for example, you look at Kash Patel, and Jim Jordan, Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, Jim Jordan, anyone who's looked at this, Tom Fitton, the problem is they went after Trump legally. They conspired to go after an incoming candidate legally. And in doing so, they hid behind plausible deniability. I think that if there's an FEC violation that Clinton already, if there's Clinton, there's an FEC, yes, 10:30 p.m. Pacific tonight. If there's Amazing Colonel, yeah, I mean, but Andrew McCarthy was okay. Bill Barr, I think, is right about seditious activity, but see, Andrew McCarthy perhaps doesn't know what Bill Barr knows. Andrew McCarthy was spot on. He said that there would be an acquittal. And he said there would be an acquittal because the defense and the judge was just doing everything possible to facilitate an acquittal. I mean, that text message where he literally lied in the text message, he couldn't be indicted for. I mean, they get away because they're extremely privileged and lucky. They have a D.C. jury and a D.C. judge. They think that Trump actually, they think that they think Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper are all virtuous, honest people. They don't think that any of these, like Clapper, Brennan, they think that they're honest people who are doing their job. They do not think that Trump was set up or framed. They do not think that Trump was set up or framed. That's the issue. They don't think that. They don't think that. And so the problem is, how do you indict people initially? How do you go ahead and indict people if these people conspired to defraud the United States but did so in a legal manner? They went after Trump. And from the liberal Democratic Party sensibilities, from the sensibilities of a liberal Democrat, they did so Completely above board. Trump was capable of anything. Sandra, I did. Thank you. Parallax, thank you. They're going to just say that that they investigated Trump based on based on a belief, suspicion that he's capable of anything. Even though they knew is there a law, and there is, pointing to criminal activity regarding investigating an incoming candidate based on suspicion created by his direct political rival. And so, ladies and gentlemen, be here tonight at around 10:30 p.m. Go to the Stock Market Crash and the Bitcoin Crash channel right now for free reign. Thank you so very, very much. And C. Revis, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So if you enjoy the live streams, your super chat is greatly appreciated. I'll see you tonight at around 10:30 p.m., people. So be here at around 10:30, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, everybody. I will see you in about an hour and a half, or about 2 hours. Thanks, everyone. See you at 10:30 p.m.